All right, I'm here with my buddy Ozzie, and in this video we're going to go over some tips you can use if you have a dog that, like Ozzie, likes to jump up on guests. Now, the guardians here report that he does not jump up on them, he jumps up on his guests. He also occasionally knocks down. We have a couple little kiddos in the family. Occasionally knocks over. He's pretty good with them, but occasionally gets overexcited. He may knock into them. That's a little bit different. Now, when people show up at the door, it's very normal for dogs to want to jump up. If you've seen two dogs meet each other, they do jump up on each other during part of the greeting. That's kind of a normal dog behavior. And a lot of people say, my dog is so naughty for jumping up on people. It's not naughty. Naughty implies morality. He's not doing it to be, make anyone angry. That's just kind of normal behavior for dogs. And then we compound it by he is a lab who is in his youth, who has a lot of energy. And so we can either set our dogs up for failure or for success. So for a dog like Ozzie, what I'd like to do, if I know that a guest is going to come over, I would arrange to take him out and play a game of fetch. Now, voir dire it. It might be like, he needs 15 fetches before a guest comes over. He needs 25 fetches before we go on a walk. He needs this many fetches before we go to the vet office. And it might be walks and other things as well, but for him, he pulls on a leash a lot, so fetching is probably going to be easier for the family. So try different quantities out and then see how he does until you find kind of that Goldilocks amount of fetches or whatever the exercise is that takes off a nice level of energy, not so he's exhausted, but just so he's not bombastic. Now, here we have an actual screen door. I'm trying not to be backlit, so I'm going to be over here. But we have a screen door and an interior door. Now, for Ozzie, we're not going to do this because he gets frustrated, I don't want to say aggression, but a little reactive to like delivery people. And people that he doesn't know, he's a little bit wary of, a little guard dog. And so in his case, we wouldn't normally do this. Now, for you guys, if it's a guest or somebody he knows, I'm going to go through it, but you guys might not want to use it for a new person for those reasons. So something I do, and I'm going to go outside, I'm going to close the door, you'll be able to hear me talking, so I'm going to kind of walk myself through this. Ozzie's now walked away and he's laying down. Now, we're about 2 hours into our session, so he's a little bit tired. We just went through some loose leash stuff, and he's going to take a little nap. I'm going to go out and close this door. I'm going to wait a second, and I'm going to knock on the door like a guest. I'm going to have you not open the door. Well, actually, I am going to have you open the door. I'm going to have you unlock this door, open this door so it's like this, but don't open this door. And I'm going to do kind of a version of what I showed you guys off camera. So I'm going to do a quick little salutation, keep recording, and I'm going to knock on the door, and we'll go through this exercise. All right, see you, Ozzie. I'm taking all the treats, buddy. Don't worry, Ozzie, I'm not taking all the treats. They're right here. All right, so now I'm outside. I'm going to give him a chance to reset. I can't see what he's doing, but I'm guessing he kind of walked away from the door. So now I'm going to do a little bit of a police knock. All right, open it all the way. All right, now if you're worried that he's going to pop the door open, you have a lock, but if you're somebody watching this so you don't know, just have the guests put their foot there so they can't lock it. Now, I can't really see in it all, but I can hear that Ozzie's right there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reach for the handle, and usually as soon as the dog gets excited, I pull back and stop. If he gets too excited, I might turn around and just look like this. And I want to make sure the door is secure so that we know that he can't pop it open. His energy right now isn't super high because I just left. But if I came in, his energy is going to be pretty high. So I'm going to reach a little bit, pull back. And this is a desensitization exercise. So there's no treating or rewarding. And you're not giving them any direction back there. And eventually they're touching. Eventually they're jiggling. That's okay. I'm mic'd up, so I don't know if they'll hear that. Then I'm going to jiggle a little bit more. Now, before I come in, I'm going to have treats in my hand. So once I've taken the time and he's settled, I can let myself in like this. Now, what is he doing? He's looking for the treats in my hand. So I could do a couple things. Sometimes we do guess which hand. I'm going to go ahead and show you just a hand targeting one. So touch, yes. Touch, yes. Touch, yes. Now, can we do this with guests right away? No. What we're going to do is we're going to practice hand targeting, which he already knows, and he has a pretty good hand target. What I like the guardians to do is practice that here in this location right by the door. There's no guests, there's nobody outside, so we're not actually dealing with the excitement of somebody coming. We're just helping to shape the behavior we want by having him practice hand targeting at the door, with you guys just going to the door. Now, eventually, when he gets pretty good at it, then we have him over here. And if this is you, you're just going to go right outside the door, come in, touch, yes, touch, yes. Maybe do 2 or 3, step out the door again. You're not going anywhere. Okay, and so now we're starting to simulate going through the door, somebody passing the threshold. But it's just you. He knows who you are. You were here a second ago, you walked out there, I don't have a spike of energy. But we're helping him practice behavior. Now we're incorporating the door opening and closing. When your guests come over, well, excuse me, before you get to that point, then eventually you're gonna actually close this door. Well, at first you go out here, you just go out, come right back in like I did. Eventually you go out here, maybe you sit on this step, have a nice lemonade, or whatever it is, and you wait maybe 30 seconds, then come up and come in the door. Now he's gonna start building a little anticipation, excitement. There's a barrier, I can't get to you, I can't lick you. And then eventually we're gonna spend more and more time out there where he can see us. But the idea is he's pretty relaxed, he can see you're out there, but we do this a lot. And this is a great way to drain energy as well. He's self-controlling. So once you get to the point where you can be out there for like maybe about 5 or 10 minutes, and again, if you have to abort and come in and help with the kids or whatever, you know, that's the nice thing about doing this as a regular lifestyle sort of deal. Eventually, you're gonna close this door. Now, when you close this door, this is hard. So I'd close the door, close them both, wait like 5 seconds, and then come back in and do hand targeting again. And eventually I close this door and I'm out there for 10 seconds, 30. Every dog is different by your iterations. You guys have a little security camera? I thought I spotted one, a hidden one, yeah. And so watch on your phone. If he starts panicking, we don't want to have that. We just want to have him hopefully just sitting there looking at the door, waiting for progressively longer and longer periods of time. Eventually, you guys are out there for like 20 minutes and coming in. You can still be on your Wi-Fi or whatever. And eventually, when you guys come in, you guys are doing hand target when you've actually been gone. Now, do you guys ever come through here or do you always come through there? You come through here. So it's important, try to go through here, both of you guys, because this is where your guests come. We want him to practice the behavior we want with you guys. So now I come, and I know he doesn't jump up on you. That's even better because it's easier for him to practice the behavior we want. So then we want to invite a friend who will listen to you. We have friends that listen, we have friends who don't listen. Friends who don't listen, those are at the end of this. We want to have success on top of success. So your friend come over, this is somebody he already knows. So he's not going to be, we don't want to deal with the aggressive territorial behavior, we just want to deal with the jumping behavior. So now the guest is going to come in and start doing the hand targeting. So have treats with them so that he's ready to do. Now, if he jumps up on the guest, as soon as he jumps up on the guest, definitely, and if you're the guest watching, make sure you don't let Ozzie out, but you're going to immediately step out, close the door, and stand and wait outside. This is a negative punishment. So if he behaves, I am so happy I have to jump up on you. Well, jumping up on you causes you to leave. That's the antithesis of what I'm trying to achieve. Now, I don't like doing that a lot because a lot of dogs will bark. Guardian here doesn't have any problems if he barks. He never barks. No, I'm just kidding. So that's why I don't like doing that, but I don't want him to practice that behavior. Now, if he does bark a lot, call me and let me know. We'll make some adjustments as we need to. But hopefully he learns that as soon as he sits down, then I reach for the handle, and they might do what I showed you guys at the back door, or what I talked about at the beginning of this video. They reach for it a little bit. He gets excited. They pull their arm back. Now, it's pretty hard to see from outside in here, so you might have to tell your guardians or your friends, come up with a code. If I say red, that means you stop. If I say green, then start again. And have them go step by step, reaching for the handle, getting excited, and again, it's without them being able to say it, you might have to come up with another word. If he's too excited, just stop. You can just direct and tell them what's going on. But eventually, his energy is going to abate. He can't be at that crescendo of energy for too long. Might seem like a long time for a lab, but I promise you it will dissipate. So now you have your friend come in, they're doing hand targeting, maybe 5 to 7 hand targets, and then you can have like a lick mat with cream cheese that you say, Ozzie, and you slap it down on the ground. So now he got to meet and interact with your guests, 4 on the floor the whole time, and he's going away, and now he's licking that while your guest comes in, and the longer he licks that, his energy level is also coming down on a plane. Now, you could also do what I did when I first arrived for the session. Now, not knowing him, the guardian kind of came out and came in with me, kind of gives me his seal of approval. I had a bunch of little tiny treats. I took the treats I have and made them small little bundles. I let him sniff that I had the treats, and then I threw him down on the ground. And Ozzie was very aroused and very excited, but he was looking for those treats. He didn't even get them all. He came back, and I had another, while he's going to get those, I have another pile. So you might have a whole bunch of treats for people. Now, I have a lot of people like, so just throwing treats on the ground, that's not what I'm looking to do. That's not forever. We're shaping a behavior. At first, it'll be, you might throw 15, then throw a couple more. But we're practicing with the hand targeting. So we're giving him an alternative. This is kind of your emergency method if you have somebody that doesn't want to participate, because he did. He went and got all the other treats. And you have to do that 2 or 3 times, however long it takes for his behavior to dissipate. That's kind of more of a management thing, because where it's more of a distraction, where the hand targeting is actually teaching him the behavior that you want. Now, you don't have a doorbell or anything, right? You could also do things where you can teach dogs that the knock of the door means go to the dog bed. So I might kind of go like, so I'm starting off with a light knock, and then throwing the treat in the dog bed. I should be saying yes, or clicking. Yes. Well, that was bad as well. Let me do that again. So, yes, I'm saying yes when he steps on the dog bed. Now, you can also teach him to go to the dog bed. So does he have a place cue for the dog bed? A word that means go to the dog bed? No. So think of a name, Virginia, Cavalier, whatever it is that you guys, some insider joke that's going to make people laugh. So, hey.
We usually say go lay down.
Go lay down? Well, if you say, yeah, I would come up with a more distinctive cue, because that way you're just, instead of saying go lay down, he knows what lay down means. It's like, there's no way I'm laying down. I got to jump up on this person first. So with it, nobody there. So when I teach a dog bed, going to the dog bed, I just would say, Virginia, yes. Virginia, whoops, yes. You knocked it out of my hand. It's on the floor. You haven't seen it yet. Come here. Virginia. So first I'm saying Virginia, throwing it on, and when he steps on it, I say the marker word, and you can go to the 0.05. It'll make it a little bit wider if you want. And so at first I'm using this to lure him to go to the dog bed. Virginia, yes, boom. And after I've done this enough, I should be able to say, Virginia, yes, treat. Then I'm going to take one step back. That's the one you missed earlier. Yes, and get a treat. One step back. Yes, treat. And note my mechanics. Not reaching for the treat. So now 1, 2 steps back. Yes, then I reach for the treat. 1, 2, 3. Yes, treat. So we're breaking this down into small steps and teaching him going there. Now there's no guests here, but we're simulating us walking away. Now, normally when people go to the door, you probably are not moonwalking back to the door backwards. So at first I'm doing that because it's easier. Dogs look at what direction our feet are pointed. If my feet are pointed towards him, he knows I'm coming right back. When I point him that way, he might think we're going to go. So that's going to be harder. So I turn around. Yes, I'm marking him not getting up off of the dog bed. And we're training and teaching him to do it. So eventually when he gets to the point where he can turn around, open it all the way. Yes. Now we're not silent movie era anymore. So a lot of times I'll go like, hey, come on in. Not you. Yes, and that's sloppy mechanics. I put my hand in there first. So eventually you're talking to an imaginary person out there. Now eventually I would do this and I would have somebody out there that he can't see. So when you go, hey, how you doing? They're like, pretty good, how you doing? And you have a conversation, but nobody comes in. If he gets up, that conversation was too loud. So have them, good, talk a little bit quieter. And eventually you get to the point where they do come to the door. And you do unlock the door and all the elements, and he's staying there. You invite your guest to come in. He's practiced staying away. But for dog practice, it usually is about, for behavior patterns, it's about 2.5 months for them to form new behavior. It depends on how often you're practicing this. And you can do this with yourself. When you're coming home, you can have the door closed and recreate the whole thing, and it's you. So, again, it's easier because you're more patient than you're going to ask for your friends. And he's just practicing. Every time he comes to the door, he's sitting over here, and you're doing all the other stuff. Now, what I showed you, the initial, is if you don't want to teach your dog to go there. So I'm kind of showing you a medley of 3 or 4 different things that you can do. And you can do a combination of all of them. This is my favorite one to do, because I'm teaching the dog to move away from the door. That distance helps him feel more relaxed. The problem in you guys' situation, because it's LA, it's pretty condensed. This is really close to the door. I mean, it's only about 6 feet away. Perfect world, you might get like a floor mat and put in front of his dog bed or his dog kennel, so he can still see the door. So if it's one of the kids answering the door, it's a creepy person, He can get to the door in 0.5 and help out, but that extra distance is going to help him feel a little bit more relaxed. But it's just breaking down individual steps and helping him practice the way that you want before we make it more difficult. And eventually have a guest come over, knock on the door, and the first part I was talked about for the dog bed, I didn't do a great job of explaining. So if I go, then throw the treat on the dog bed, eventually this becomes classical conditioning. Knock, knock, he runs away from the door like we talked about the orientation, and the knock causes him to go away instead of the knock causing him to be all excited. Does that make sense? All right, Mr. Ozzie, come here. Sit. Well, this is my buddy Ozzie, and these are some tips and tricks you can use if you have a dog that likes to jump up on guests at the door.